last days of 1860, the country was coming apart, one state at a time. South Carolina had gone first. Mississippi, Florida, Alabama would follow within weeks. In a quiet river town in central Louisiana, a northern man sat inside a military college he had built almost from nothing, and understood that his life there was ending. His name was William Tecumseh Sherman, 40 years old. Not yet a general, not yet famous, only the superintendent of a small state seminary, respected by his cadets, trusted by his neighbors, at home among people he had come to love. And every one of them was about to become his enemy. Weeks before he wrote the letter that ended his life in the South, Sherman said something out loud to a friend on a Christmas Eve that almost no one else in America could see. He saw the whole war coming. Plainly. To the end. These are his words. "You people of the South don't know what you're doing. This country will be drenched in blood, and God only knows how it will end. It is all folly, madness, a crime against civilization. You people speak so lightly of war, you don't know what you're talking about. War is a terrible thing. You mistake, too, the people of the North. They are a peaceable people, but an earnest people, and they will fight, too. They are not going to let this country be destroyed without a mighty effort to save it. Besides, where are your men and appliances of war to contend against them? The North can make a steam engine, a locomotive, or a railway car. Hardly a yard of cloth or a pair of shoes can you make? You are rushing into war with one of the most powerful, ingeniously mechanical, and determined people on earth right at your doors. You are bound to fail. Only in your spirit and determination are you prepared for war. In all else, you are totally unprepared, with a bad cause to start with. At first, you will make headway. But as your limited resources begin to fail, shut out from the markets of Europe, as you will be, your cause will begin to wane. If your people will but stop and think, they must see, in the end, that you will surely fail." Boyd remembered that Sherman was almost in tears as he spoke. It was not the voice of an enemy. It was the voice of a man begging the people he loved not to walk off a cliff. Weeks passed, and then the thing Sherman feared arrived. Louisiana moved toward secession, and state forces seized the United States arsenal at Baton Rouge. Federal guns, federal powder taken. Sherman held his post under the authority and the funds of that state. The muskets in his cadets' hands were United States muskets. He could not stay on January 18, 1861. He wrote to the governor of Louisiana, Thomas Overton Moore. These are Sherman's exact words. "Sir, as I occupy a quasi-military position under the laws of the state, I deem it proper to acquaint you that I accepted such position when Louisiana was a state in the Union, and when the motto of this seminary was inserted in marble over the main door, by the liberality of the general government of the United States. The Union, esto perpetua. Recent events foreshadow a great change, and it becomes all men to choose. If Louisiana withdraw from the federal union, I prefer to maintain my allegiance to the Constitution, as long as a fragment of it survives, and my longer stay here would be wrong in every sense of the word. In that event, I beg you will send or appoint some authorized agent to take charge of the arms and munitions of war belonging to the state, or advise me what disposition to make of them. When I leave, which I now regard as certain, the present professors can manage well enough to afford you leisure time to find a suitable successor to me. You might order Major Smith to receipt for the arms and to exercise military command, while the academic exercises could go on under the board. In time, some gentleman will turn up, better qualified than I am, to carry on the seminary to its ultimate point of success. I entertain the kindest feelings toward all, and would leave the state with much regret. Only in great events we must choose one way or the other. W.T. Sherman." With the official letter, Sherman enclosed a second private note to the governor. "My dear sir, I take it for granted that you have been expecting for some days the accompanying paper from me. I have repeatedly and again made known to General Graham and Dr. Smith that in the event of a severance of the relations hitherto existing between the Confederated States of this Union, I would be forced to choose the old Union. I have never been a politician, and therefore undervalue the excited feelings and opinions of present rulers. But I do think, if this people cannot execute a form of government like the present, that a worse one will result. I will keep the cadets as quiet as possible. They are nervous. But I think the interest of the state requires them here, guarding this property, and acquiring a knowledge which will be useful to your state in after times. Truly your friend, W.T. Sherman. He was not leaving because he hated the South. By his own hand he had written that he entertained the kindest feelings toward all, and would leave the state with much regret. He kept his cadets calm, he guarded the property that was not his. He asked only that an honest agent be sent to receive the arms. He was leaving, because his allegiance was to the whole country, and to the Constitution, as long as a fragment of it survived. In February of 1861, William Tecumseh Sherman settled his accounts, handed over the keys, and went north, away from the pleasantest home he had known and the work he had loved best in his life. He went with grief, not anger, and he went knowing with terrible clarity what was coming, because he had already said it aloud on a Christmas Eve to a friend who did not want to believe him. He was right about all of it. The blood, the blockade, the steam engines and the railway cars that the South could not match, the 4 long years. And in the end, it was Sherman himself who carried that prophecy across Georgia, the man who had wept at the seminary in Louisiana, marching to the sea, making real the very war he had begged his friends to avoid. He had told them, "You are rushing into war," he said, with one of the most powerful, ingeniously mechanical, and determined people on earth. He was that people. You have been listening to Letters of America, the private and public voices of a divided nation. Thank you for sitting with us.